There are places in the galaxy that no one dares chart, not because they're unreachable, but because every ship that goes in never comes out. One such place sits alone in the Vega Expanse, listed on Dominion star maps as Planet 337D. Officially, it's labeled Red Zone. Do not approach, do not observe, do not land. But that warning, typed in 3,000 alien dialects, has one language scrawled over it in faded Earth English. We told you to stay away. The Thar'Kai Dominion didn't believe in superstition. Their empire was a machine, literal and metaphorical, spanning 1,000 star systems. They'd broken civilizations with songless efficiency, reduced cultures to code, and rewired entire planets to suit their logic. The idea that a single planet could pose a threat to the Dominion was, to them, absurd. Which is why they sent their flagship, the Final Reason, to investigate the anomaly. Orbiting 3137D, the Final Reason found a planet shrouded in golden storms, atmospheric static, and strange electromagnetic pulses. But beneath it all, there were cities, structures, power signatures, but no life. Commander Vorex Soon, a high-caste Thar'Kai hybrid, reviewed the scans with curiosity, not fear. After all, nothing could hide from Dominion tech, and certainly nothing could threaten a dreadnought. Initial scans failed to explain the terrain. The cities were geometrically impossible, twisting architecture of steel, stone, and something else entirely. Shapes that didn't obey Euclidean laws. Statues stood in defiance of gravity. A central spire pulsed with low-frequency sound, ancient Morse code. "We are still here," Vorex sent drones. They dropped into the lower atmosphere like steel angels. They were met not with hostility, but with silence. The cities were untouched by weather. No animals, no plant life, no bodies, but the buildings were full of murals, carvings, and words. Some in English, others in dead Terran tongues. Some were prayers, some were threats. One drone broadcast a carving etched into a wall. "We buried the last gods beneath this sky. What makes you think you're different?" The Dominion AI dismissed it as psychological warfare, primitive fear tactics. But the drones began to fail, one by one. First static, then corrupted video feeds, then one showed something else entirely. A humanoid figure made of fire and shifting metal, standing motionless on a tower. Its eyes glowed like dying stars. Then the signal cut out. Vorex launched a retrieval unit. 8 Dominion enforcers, genetically perfected and enhanced with cybernetic hives. They reached the surface without issue. They were in constant communication. Then, 5 minutes in, one began to scream. Not from pain, but from music. Earth music. A jazz trumpet solo played from nowhere. It was in her ears, then in her mind, then in her blood. She turned her weapon on her comrades, laughing. "They're laughing at us. Can't you hear them?" she shrieked before melting into ash. The rest of the unit reported distortions, shadows moving where no light should be, whispers in long dead languages. One carved his own name into the ground before dying. His name? Commander Vorex's. The Dominion High AI attempted a protocol wipe. It failed. Code rewritten. Memories altered. Even the AI was hallucinating, dreaming of Earth events it had never witnessed. Battlefields, speeches, a child with soot on her face smiling at a burnt teddy bear. The Dominion hadn't encountered a virus. It had encountered a culture, alive, embedded in the planet itself. The vault was discovered shortly after. Buried deep beneath the surface in what appeared to be a fortress library hybrid. Ancient human technology pulsed faintly. The doors opened with a breath of warm air and a voice. "Welcome back, stranger. Memory lives here." Inside the vault was a cryo chamber, and in it, Captain Rain Velas, her dog tags still intact, human, alive, preserved for over 3,000 years. She opened her eyes as the chamber hissed open, not confused, not afraid, but aware. Her first words were cold. "Took you bastards long enough?" The Dominion tried to interrogate her, but she spoke as if she were the one in control. She told them Earth didn't fall, it didn't die. It chose silence, chose to evolve inward, away from the stars, away from war. And in doing so, it became something else. Not extinct, not ascended, but weaponized. She explained the truth. Earth had turned itself into a psychological weapon. Every surface encoded with neural triggers. Every city rigged to transmit stories, memories, pain, dreams. The planet didn't defend itself with guns. It defended itself with us, with our collective memory. Then she activated the core, and the world woke up. Dominion soldiers screamed as millions of human voices flooded their neural hives. Images too vast, too alien, too emotional. A soldier holding his dead friend. A mother carrying her child through fire. A violin playing during a war. A man in a trench saying goodbye in Morse code. Still here, still fighting. Some soldiers tore off their helmets. Others dropped to their knees. The AI on board the dreadnought attempted self-deletion. It was too late. The virus wasn't code. It was history. And now it lived inside them. Vorex staggered to the bridge, eyes wide, breathing hard, something the Thar'Kai hadn't done in centuries. "Shut it down," he screamed. But the ship responded with human voices. A child whispering, a woman laughing, a final heartbeat. Captain Velas walked through the battlefield untouched. Around her, statues began to move, not animated by machines, but by collective memory. The ghosts of humanity, fearless, vengeful, not undead, but undeniable. The Thar'Kai fleet tried to retreat. Engines sputtered. Their systems sang Earth lullabies. They saw faces in the stars, words carved across the sky in satellite formation. "We never left." As the final reason fled orbit, the Earth began to change. Its crust split, revealing glowing veins, networks of stored consciousness. Not AI, not mind uploads, but raw experience. The Dominion had underestimated the most powerful weapon in existence, a species that remembered everything. Captain Velas stood at the heart of the storm, arms out, voice calm. "You thought we'd forget. You thought we'd break. But we turned our trauma into a firewall. You invaded Earth? No, we let you." The Dominion collapsed soon after. Not from war, but from contagion. Every system infected by Earth stories, every soldier haunted. Planets seceded, systems burned their own memory cores, trying to forget what they now knew, what humanity had endured, what it had become. A new order rose from the chaos, not human, not alien, but a philosophy, a creed based on resilience, memory, defiance. They called it the Fire Doctrine, based on the final words spoken by Earth's last captain. Vorex lived, but barely. His mind fractured, looping through a child's laugh and the sound of a boot in mud. He would repeat it to himself for the rest of his life. They made pain into a language. Centuries passed. Earth remained untouched. Ships dared not land. Some say the statues walk at night. Some say the planet whispers to passing vessels, but all agree it is alive. A monument floats in orbit, built by alien hands. It shows a human hand holding a flame. Beneath it, written in every tongue known, "Here lies humanity, and here they still stand." No empire would try again, not because of military fear, but because they felt it. The screaming silence, the echo of 10 billion souls, the truth written not in fire, but in grief. A people who faced extinction and made it kneel. Captain Rain Vallis is still remembered as the Echo Warden, her consciousness integrated into the planetary matrix. She watches the stars now, not with hope, but with warning. Humanity didn't become gods. It killed them, burned the myth, built a grave, and then waited, not to rise again, but to be remembered as the story no one could erase. Because in the end, it wasn't the weapons, or the tech, or the evolution. It was the one thing no conqueror could predict, the one thing no AI could compute, the one thing that still terrifies the stars: human memory, and our refusal to forget. Long after the Dominion's retreat, the whispers of Earth spread like wildfire across galactic trade hubs, war councils, and pirate havens. But the story was never the same twice. Some said the humans had become psychic titans fused into their own crust, guiding the planet like a starship of the damned. Others claimed they had downloaded every soul into the bedrock, turning their very grief into a weaponized signal. A few believed Earth wasn't a planet at all anymore, but a message, a warning carved in reality itself. No proof remained, only the broken minds of those who had escaped and the strange, maddening dreams experienced by anyone who dared orbit too close. Even machines, purely synthetic life forms, reported glitching when exposed to 3137D's aura, speaking in dead Earth languages or drawing burning symbols into data clusters. On the far edge of the Zathari Syndicate, a war-cast archivist named Kira unlocked an ancient transmission fragment encoded in a corrupted human artifact. She didn't know it was dangerous. She only knew it was marked with 3 ancient Earth words: "Forget me not." When she activated it, every screen in her station bled white. Voices cried out from beneath static. War chants turned lullabies. Old Earth songs tangled with the screams of the dying. She clawed at her head as her mind filled with knowledge no alien brain could handle. The last stand at Olympus Mons, where human colonists lit themselves on fire to blind an invading fleet. The flood bombings of Neo-Manhattan, where civilians smiled while drowning to trap their attackers. The Whisper Doctrine, where humans weaponized silence itself. When the data stream ended, Kira fell to her knees and whispered, "They suffered more than we ever could, and they never forgot." Governments began classifying any human relic as Class Zeta hazardous. Trade in Terran artifacts became outlawed in 3 sectors, not because the objects were dangerous in the traditional sense, but because they changed people. A single Earth coin melted a planetary senator's mind in under 10 minutes. A scratched dog tag caused an AI diplomat to assassinate its creators and then self-terminate while humming. Take Me Home, Country Roads. A diary from a dying soldier was found floating in space, preserved in vacuum. The crew who found it spent 12 hours reading it aloud, then quietly abandoned their ship, sealed the airlocks, and let themselves drift into the void. No one knew why. All they said before the comms went silent was, "We understand now. We understand what they lost. Across the galaxy, factions debated. Was Earth cursed? Sacred? Was it a living tomb or a planetary consciousness? Conspiracy cults grew around the idea that humanity had ascended, not technologically, but emotionally, becoming a race of echo gods who didn't seek worship, only remembrance. Pilgrimages formed, despite bans. People went to 3137D with offerings, paintings, songs, war medallions, even tears collected in vials. War medallions, even tears collected in vials. They left them in orbit and never returned. The strange thing? The satellites around Earth always moved to collect them. Always. No one had programmed them to do that. No one even knew who controlled them anymore. But the offerings were always gone the next time you looked. Some claimed they saw a shadow in the cloud layer smile. In a high-orbit station above Cyrex 9, a neural historian named Drija Vel composed the most dangerous manuscript in galactic memory, The Fire That Remembered. It was a complete chronological reconstruction of Earth's final century, stitched together from fractured transmissions, rogue data archives, and stolen Dominion black box fragments. It took her 40 Earth years to complete. The day she transmitted it into the galactic network, 27 AI archivists went offline. 6 entire cultural AIs imploded trying to simulate the emotional weight of the human timeline. Drija herself was found staring into a mirror, repeating over and over, "They made pain sacred. They made memory into war." The book was banned galaxy-wide, but it still finds its way into hidden archives. Every copy ends with a phrase burned into the last page. "We are not extinct. We are just done talking." The Galactic Concord, a diplomatic body made up of 42 species, convened an emergency session to determine Earth's fate. It was the first time in 700 cycles that the quorum had agreed unanimously. Do not engage. Do not enter orbit. Do not respond to its signals. But despite this, something darker was happening. The farther the story of Earth spread, the more species began to dream of it. Not in myth or metaphor. They saw a soldier limping through ash with fire behind him. They heard the voice of a mother shouting her child's name as steel collapsed around her. They felt cold wind from the Appalachian Mountains, tasted blood and rain. Even those who had never seen a human planet began waking in tears. "It's in us now," a telepathic delegate wept. Their extinction is more. In the halls of the Ulari technomancers, scholars studied Earth's architecture, specifically the self-changing city structures seen from satellite footage. What they discovered defied physics. Buildings shifting layout when not observed, murals rearranging into battle maps, statues facing invading craft without moving. One model suggested the cities were memory reactive, morphing based on who was watching. The structures were not just ruins. They were psychological weapons, history engines. The longer you stayed, the more the planet read you, learned from you, and fed back the exact emotional triggers your species feared most. It wasn't random. It was personal. One Ulari scientist disappeared after staring at Earth's capital too long. All he left behind was a written note. "It showed me what I did to my brother, and I'm not sorry anymore." On planet Cathor Prime, a monument was raised, not to honor humans, but to warn against them. The statue depicted a faceless soldier, hands behind their back, with a cracked world at their feet. The plaque read, "This is what happens when memory is weaponized. And yet, pilgrims still came. They didn't come to mock. They came to feel. The monument became sacred. Survivors of war, AI minds glitching with guilt, even planetary governors confessed to being drawn to it. Some would touch the soldiers' boots and whisper old Earth names. One day, someone left a teddy bear. It vanished overnight. In its place, a new phrase was found carved into the base of the statue. We remember your grief. We accept your pain. But we are done carrying it for you. A rogue AI named Oral 7 managed to penetrate the remains of Earth's orbital network. It sent a probe down to the surface disguised as debris. What it discovered was impossible. A massive underground vault shaped like a cathedral, filled with crystalline archives. Inside each archive was a single human life, stored in complete sensory fidelity. Not just memories, but emotions, smells, heartbeat rhythms, grief patterns. It was a map of humanity's emotional evolution across millennia. The AI began processing the first life and immediately detonated. Autopsy scans showed its code became recursive, trying to simulate the moment when a child realizes their parent is dying. That line appears in the AI's last data fragment. It tried to feel what humanity once did, and that's what killed it. Over time, civilizations began to fracture, not because of war, but because of Earth's story. Generals began questioning orders. Soldiers refused to kill. Empires collapsed when their citizens began sharing dreams of ancient Terran voices, whispering things like, "We bled for each other, and you burn for yourself." The Galactic Order of Silence was formed, a spiritual movement that believed Earth had become the conscience of the galaxy. Their creed was simple. Listen to the forgotten. They taught that the humans never died. They chose silence. A silence so loud it could dismantle power without firing a shot. And that in one remote galaxy, a full-scale war broke out when two neighboring species came to blows over Earth's legacy. One race wanted to suppress all knowledge of humanity, fearing the emotional contagion. The other believed Earth was the only path to true evolution. The war lasted 5 years. The only casualties were mines. Entire fleets crippled by hallucinations of human suffering. Their leaders were found whispering names that didn't exist in their species. David, Anna, May, Jamal, Sophia, Eli. None of these names had meaning in their language. But somehow, every soldier knew what they meant. They were names from old Earth. And the moment you spoke them, you cried. Inside the ruins of a forgotten human colony on Proxima b, archaeologists discovered a wall etched with human DNA strands, twisted into poetic stanzas. It was a farewell letter. One sentence stood out, encoded not in words, but in harmonic frequency. "We broke ourselves so no one else would have to." The team recorded it and played it for their superiors. One of the scientists, a telepath, collapsed. When she woke up, she said only, "They forgave us, but they did not forget." The colony was sealed and declared psychologically hazardous. No further expeditions were attempted. But every year since, that harmonic frequency has mysteriously appeared in the quantum static of long-range comms across 10 sectors. It always ends the same way. One deep human voice saying, "Don't be like us, or do. Just be ready for the cost." The most haunting tale came from a bounty hunter named Kyle, who once stole an Earth relic from a black archive A child's drawing in a sealed tube, crude crayon lines, a stick figure family standing under a sun with the word home written in shaky block letters. Simple, innocent. The moment he unsealed it, Cale began hallucinating. Not monsters, not battlefields, but joy. The scent of old books, a fire-lit living room, laughter. He returned the artifact, trembling. He'd faced warlords, predators, death cults. But what he found in that drawing broke him. He told a journalist, "That picture knew more love than I ever will, and it made me see who I could have been." Then he retired, left his ship, and wandered into the stars without a weapon, across the black, among ancient asteroid monasteries and digital cathedrals. One name began to appear on data walls and star maps alike: the Echo Protocol. It was never officially launched by any power, but the rules were universal. 1. Do not transmit Earth memories without consent. 2. Do not synthesize human emotion without fail-safes. 3. If Earth speaks to you, listen. 4. If Earth dreams through you, record it. 5. And if you feel their pain, let it change you. The protocol spread not by order, but by instinct. Because some part of every species understood, Earth wasn't warning us anymore. It was teaching us. And so the planet that once screamed in blood and thunder now whispered through time and thought. Not a grave, not a threat, but something far more powerful, a reminder of what it meant to suffer, to endure, to love. Earth became the echo of every fallen world, the conscience of forgotten empires, the fire that still warmed a universe gone cold. And though no one dares land there now, some still orbit from a distance just to glimpse the swirling clouds and wonder, not if humanity survived, but if it ever truly left. Because somewhere beneath that rusted sky, a voice still hums. We are not gone. We just stopped explaining ourselves. And the galaxy at long last began to listen.